Happy Friday. Good morning. It's a chilly day. We're down around 40, maybe 39 degrees here in sunny California. I have had 2 horribly long days, and man, I can't wait for today to get over with. Woo! Anyway, I just watched a video from Eric Brandt. It was about 40 some odd minutes. It was his, I believe that he recorded his jaywalking trial. He was bellicose, belligerent, confrontational. He was classic Eric Brandt. Doesn't really know the law entirely, but doesn't even know the law very well. But he managed to eke his way through. He called a witness. The witness was credible. The witness testified that Mr. Brandt was in a crosswalk. State failed its portion. The officer didn't get a complete witness statement. I don't know if it's a protocol to call witnesses and an action like that. I think it would if there's jail time involved. If it's just a civil fine, then maybe not. Not entirely sure. I don't know the rules of the Denver courts well enough on that at all. But yeah, challenging a judge's jurisdiction is, you can't rule on your jurisdiction. We can't proceed until there's been jurisdiction put on the record. Classic sovereign citizen nonsense. However, here's my point. For all of you people out there, like, judges are biased. Judges believe the police. Judges for this. Judges for that. I know you guys are going to want to say that Eric Brandt is a master of the courtroom and the judge just couldn't help it rule in Eric's favor. And no, he wasn't a master of the courtroom. The evidence did, however, tend to support Eric's view. And so the judge did what a non-biased person would do. And he ruled in favor of the defendant. The state failed to carry its burden of proof. It boggles my mind that every time there is contradicting evidence presented, that people just blink and reset it. So if you said I've known a judge who is biased, I'd say, okay, absolutely. I'm sure there are any human system has failure points. If you want to say I know a racist cop, I'd say, okay. But if you say cops are racist, well, that's not entirely accurate. It'd be more correct to say that some cops are racist and some cops are not. It'd be more accurate to say some judges are biased and some judges are not. But then we need to get into the what percentages are we talking about? Is it one cop? Is it one judge? Is it 20? Is it 90% of them? And I don't think that there are any good indicators to show bias in the system against defendants in general, because defendants win. Defendants win a significant percentage of the time. And considering that defendants don't get into court until after there's been an investigation done, then it is not a shock that it's not 50% of the time defendants walk free, but it's somewhere below that number. Contradicting evidence needs to be accounted for, or else you're not being honest with yourself. Flat earthers, they have lots of contradicting evidence to their claims, and yet they persist on, well, it looks like the earth is flat. How do we not fall off the bottom of the ball? They ignore evidences like the angle of the sun. They ignore evidence like sunlight shining on the bottom of clouds. They ignore evidence like time zones, observation from the International Space Station, observations of the International Space Station made from Earth. They ignore contradicting evidence. People who believe that the World Trade Center collapse was somehow the product of demolition and not planes hitting into it, and citing all sorts of ridiculous nonsense like the towers fell faster than they should have. They ignore all the physics, all the actual physics, where people have actually put pen to paper with advanced physics computations and figure out how fast things should fall. They also ignore the evidence that shows that the towers fell at a slower rate than free fall. They ignore the contradicting evidence. And I know some people are still hung up on, well, I have witnessed racism or discrimination or whatever by a police officer or a judge. Therefore, I know that police officers and judges are racist or discriminatory. And that's the problem in that line of thinking, is that you're taking one example, and from that one example, you're trying to extend it to cover multiple or the whole situation. There's an actual name for it, for that particular fallacy. It's something like, I don't know. There is a name for it. It's where you infer the attributes of the whole from the attributes of a part. So if people think that I'm discounting their testimony, their eyewitness statements, sometimes I am. If you're if you're claiming an observation, I observed him breaking the law, then I'm going to discount that unless you're somehow trained to understand what the law is and what it looks like when someone breaks it. If you say, I saw him take a dump on the sidewalk, well, I wouldn't discount that. I'd believe you saw somebody take a dump on the sidewalk. If you said, I saw someone violating the city ordinance number 1312, littering or public indecency or something like that, then I'd be like, well, hold on a second. That's different. How is it different? They both involve shitting on the sidewalk. Well, it's different because one, you're a recipient witness. You're just telling me what you saw. And the second one, you're acting like an expert witness. You're drawing a legal conclusion from what you saw. Everyone is more than qualified to say what they saw. But drawing a legal conclusion and expecting me to buy it is different. So anyway, I hope that makes a little bit of sense. I'm not sure that this is locked in yet, but apparently Laura Shark is going to come on to my little open mic session on Sunday. So that ought to be fun. She's a cop watcher. She's not an auditor. And so I'm going to have less to pick on her about, but I'll try to find something to pick at her about. It's really hard for me to do because she was out cop watching one night. There was just a little short clip of it I saw. It was a while ago, maybe 2-3 months ago. But a pit bull started following her, and she took care of it. And I thought that was awesome. And people who are nice to dogs tend to get a much more favorable reaction from me than people who aren't. But anyway, I'll still try to find something to grill her on. I'm sure she acted like an asshole somewhere. We all have, right? Anyway, thanks for watching, and have a great Friday.